Okay, everybody, welcome back to Joshie.dat, and more importantly, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, depending on what you celebrate and whatnot. I hope you all have a good one, and if you're watching this on Christmas, well, here we are. I figured we'd be a little festive with a little Santa hat that I dug out somewhere, and the last couple of videos you might have noticed were a little different. They were all streamed on here on YouTube, and those VODs are available. But we are not doing that tonight. This is just a standard solo recording because I don't know. It's just I kind of want to mix it up a little bit. So I'll stream some of this and then I'll record. Most of this will be recordings, but every once in a while I'll stream this just to interact with everybody and, whatnot. But we are on level 151, Mega Random Force Floor Zone. This is a very silly level. It is a reject level, and there's not much to it. There's two ways to solve it. It's more fun without suction boots, but they are free to use if you wish. This level was made primarily just for the title. I honestly might reuse it for like a CC2 concept because random force floors in CC2 aren't really random. They cycle the directions like Lynx does. And that's why that Walker and Blob are out there, is to kind of enforce it to be random in Lynx at least. But it's a silly level nonetheless, and I am once again a one-chip Andy here. I can't seem to find the last chip anywhere. I feel like it was in the corner. Okay, so not my best effort, but we solved it. Just to showcase it, if you pick up the suction boots, it's basically just these tiles might as well just be floor. And it just becomes a TSP kind of level. But not much to it. Not much to it whatsoever. And I think that last chip is also in the same corner. No, it's not. It's right next to the sockets. And hey, we solved it 28 seconds faster just by walking around, so. Alright. So that was a rejects level. So we are at number 20, or 20 out of 175 for that. And from now on, I'm just going to update the counts as we go. I used to do it all at the end, but I think streaming this experience kind of helped me be okay with just doing it as I go. And that's helped by the death counter that is also added. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing from now on.
Bummer.
And speaking of that, we got to add one to that because that was a very dumb way to die. Alright, Block World. This is a Joshie 2 level, and it's one of those Joshie 2 levels I actually still like to this day. I think it's pretty cool. Oop. I kind of talked about this level back in the Joshie.dat look back, but basically it's pretty basic, and I think the cool thing is all these little ice slides that you push the blocks on. And you kind of have to time it when you leave the areas too, which is pretty cool. A little avalanche kind of thing down there, and you're not able to really see, but you know, Joshie.dat, there wasn't that many design philosophies back in those early design days. This part's pretty cool too. I think the only design philosophy Joshie.dat really had, this spot would be way too obvious. And I think it was just a poppable underneath the other block. Joshie.dat's design philosophy was literally just make unique stuff. Because you just came off of playing CCLP3 and you were inspired like crazy, and tried to explore things that I didn't really see in CCLP3. So this was like one of those levels where, hey, there weren't really many ice slide kind of things in that set. So, yeah, that's kind of what Joshie.dat was all about. So we will go ahead and increase the count up to 16 for that one. All right, Fiery Fog Storm. This is a Josh L3 classic. And probably said it a couple of times, but this was one of those levels that had a chance to get into CCLP1, but I think there's a little bit too much of the force floor timing with it, and that's why it didn't get into it. I'm not sure how well it did in CCLP1 voting, to be completely real with you all. Yeah, that part is probably the meanest part. I think I submitted this for CCLP4 as well, but it didn't do as good in that voting, and I don't think I even bothered submitting it for CCLP5. But I could be wrong. And I don't know. I think this level had its chance. I think the only set really had a chance to get in, it didn't get into it, and every subsequent set following it is just, it's not going to happen. So I still like the level, but I think it kind of had its chance to shine and didn't pan out, but that's okay. It's still a fun level. The term Fog Storm doesn't come from anything. It's just a word I came up with. And the fog was supposed to indicate the invisible walls. Okay, moving on to Freedom until we. That's not the right one. I'm thinking of this level. This level's a Joshie.1 level. That was a Joshie.3 level we just played. Alright, Freedom. I suspect there's going to be a lot of added deaths on the counter with this one, because this is a pretty stupid chaos level that Joshie 1 had a good amount of. Yeah, you can kind of see where this is going. You have to get all these chips and all these monsters just get released like crazy. And there's not really a systematic way to approach this. Well, we can do this. That glider will at least be stuck down there.
Bummer.
Oop, okay. Alright, let's keep this death count thing open just so we don't have to keep opening it every time. So I should make the disclaimer that this video is not being recorded on actual Christmas. It is currently the 23rd. The night of the 23rd. So we have a little over 24 hours to go until actual Christmas as of this recording. But I figured I better get something going to have something to upload on actual Christmas. Which should be a fairly okay day. For me personally, the holidays just are not the same anymore. But I make the best of it how I can, so... Wow. Yeah, this is some good freedom, I gotta say. Okay. We're not out of the woods quite yet. In fact, I'm kind of realizing that these, those top chips are... What the hell happened there? I was not prepared for that. Wow, okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'm going to skip all these outer chips because they're pretty... Well, except that one. I felt like getting that one for some reason. Well, we're just gonna skip all these outer ones just to get these inner ones first. Up.
Bummer.
Oh my god. Yeah, you can kind of see where we're going with this.
Bummer.
Oh my god. Dude, I scouted out and it wasn't even in my sights. Alright, what if we started on this side? I'm not sure if this would be any easier. But it probably could be easier. Who knows? Alright, let's save the rest of these. Okay, they seem to be going on a pretty... Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, you're not. I was gonna say, it looks like they're going pretty orderly. Okay. I know there's a lot more than that. There they are. There they go. Alright, I think we should just start with the fireballs, because they seem to be going in that general direction. Naturally. Except that one. But hopefully with the walls, there we go. It'll backtrack on its own. Oh man, this is stressful. That was stupid timing to do that, but it worked. Okay, looks like that glider down there is stuck there, so that's good. Okay, are they all stable again? For now they are. Sorry I'm not talking much. This level is really something else, man. And there's only 26 chips left because I skipped all the outside ones. So just waiting for things to simmer down. Okay, I think things are pretty stable. That is the key word. This fireball will be pretty easy to let out because it'll just follow the path. And I just go with it. Okay, this is where it's going to be a little dicey. $40% off standard holiday sale malware bites. Piss off. Okay, so that should be all the chips on the inside, I hope. So let's take it from the top. At least these monsters can't actually be freed. I definitely had CC1 in mind with this kind of level. And surprisingly, I think I approached it pretty strongly. A random tank button ending for some reason. Okay, so all things considered, that wasn't terrible. It could have been a lot worse. I honestly expected a death count to go up to 300 after this, but we're still good. We are still good. But that level was not good at all. And happy to be past it. Very, very happy to be past that one. That was the... when I took a look at what 10 levels we were going through today, I'm getting rid of that malware bites pop-up. That was definitely the one I suspected would be the big choker of the video. You're being controlled by this tank. Get it to where both traps are open at once. Alright, so we're on tanked. And I think that hint is not true. Okay, I got the suction boots, but I'm guessing I just go through this way. And we don't want to do that. Okay, so 10 points for uncertainty. Okay. So this is a rejects level, and I think this is like the second level in JCCLP rejects. So I was going for some kind of concept where the tank positioning controlled where you went in the level, but it's honestly not that interesting of an idea. Okay, so... Now we item swap. Don't do that. Oh, I remember this. This was... What level was this from? This was from a Tyler Sontag level back in the day. I wasn't very creative with my rip-off methods. I think even this outside aesthetic was, oh hey, there's teeth here. I think this outside aesthetic was from a Tyler level too. Though I could be wrong. I might have been lounge act. Okay, we got 2 teeth after me. And now I'm heading away from them. Okay, so... So why do I want the tank to... Why do I want to hold both of them down? So now they're both held down. Okay. So you don't... So the hint just lies. You don't need to hold. Get it to where both traps are open at once. Okay. So I had a clear concept in my head. I designed it, and I didn't even accomplish what the goal was supposed to do, which was to have you, the player, or me, the player, cross both traps to get to the exit. I can think of a couple ways I could have incorporated this. I could have... let's see. Let's go through the level. Go through the replay. So what was the last direction? What was the last direction? Okay, so you went through the right. And you go down here. And you do that. So I think what I should have done was have another button press, another tank button press teleport somewhere. And then have like a tank facing a different direction that blocks the exit. I don't know. I had a goal in my head. I didn't even do the goal, so that is a top tier rejects level if I've ever seen one. But that's okay. Alright, the glider identity. This is a nice nice casual, easy Josh.5 level. I think this was like the 4th or 5th level I made for Josh L5. The fresh goal of making casually easy levels again. All these blocks must be used to get these chips. Okay, sounds easy enough. And the same thing here. But the difference here is the glider needs more than one block to escort it properly. So I think you just do it like this. Kind of like that difference of solution. It requires just a tad bit more thought. And we are free to exit. Nice and easy. Alright, so that was obviously title inspired by the Bourne identity, the whole Bourne series. I made a whole series of glider levels. There was the glider identity, glider supremacy, glider ultimatum, glider legacy. Weirdly enough, I never read the books. I only watched the films, which, you know, that's just the kind of guy I am. I've never really been an avid reader, but I like the films a lot, so I just made a whole glider series of glider levels to kind of reference it in a way. And honestly, playing this again was very enjoyable. It was really enjoyable to play this one again. Alright, so that was Josh L5. Up to 16. And we are on Fade. So I will go ahead and say this is a Walls of level. This is a Walls of a KU-12 level, as JB would say. Or make the claim I would say. I don't remember the level though. But this is made for Josh L7. This is just another easy blue wall level with a little bit of a tight timer, but nothing unreasonable. Nice to play another blue wall maze. Now I'm gonna have to make one for Flareon 2, my CC2 set. I guess on that note, I guess I can talk about some of my recent designs for that set. So I'm currently up to 28 levels total so far. I'm honestly considering topping it off at 40, just kind of pulling a Tyler Sontag, and just make it 40 levels like Flareon 1 was. But I'm not sure. I kind of like having unique totals for each set, like you see here, below me. Every one of those sets has a unique level total. Okay, that's not the real exit. Or that's the real exit, but that's not the right path. This way is the right path. Alright, fade is completed. Maybe I'll shoot for 50. Wow, we're only 7 levels into Joshie 7. That's crazy. But I'm still thinking about it. But I'm up to 28 levels right now, so no matter what, it's over halfway done. Even if I do 50 levels, it's still over halfway done. I'm just focusing on levels with that focus on 1, maybe 2 concepts at a time. And I'm trying not to use logic gates that much. I have nothing really against them. I just don't know how a lot of it works. I don't know any circuitry stuff whatsoever. Even if someone sat down with me on a voice call someday and explained to me how everything works, I can kind of make it out in some cases, but it's just the level sizes for CC2 get so extraneous, and you have to follow a long path for the wires to go through, and the whole wire tunnel's following the same row or column. It gets confusing really fast for me. And I wouldn't enjoy making something like that. So I'm trying to avoid using logic gates if I can. But CC1 is free of that stuff, so we are okay. I think we can just cover that up. Alright, so this is Iridescent. This is another Joshie 7 level and was basically the last level of Joshie 7. The Flareon level notwithstanding. And it's a little different than what most people remember it. I made a couple of changes so it can be resubmitted for CCLP6, such as these all being colored locks now. And removing the skates and swapping it for a red door, little things like that. The title is it references a Linkin Park song of the same name. It's actually a really beautiful song. And believe it or not, it could have been included for CCLP5. This was basically the highest rated level that didn't get into CCLP5. And because it was ranked 40 something. Or it was it was 49, 50, something like that. There was one other level that was higher rated, but it didn't really provide much for the whole set. So we just didn't include it. And this one, was a deliberate exclusion on my part. When the CCLB5 voting was over and we went through all the results and stuff and basically kind of picked the shoe-ins for the set. This one's a little tricky. Not too hard. Right off the bat, it was very apparent to me that a lot of my levels got in. So we basically had to make the decision, or I had to make the decision of, oh, I forgot I changed this part to be a little bit more fun, more interesting. Yeah, you can do that. Oh, that's what that's for. I forgot all about this change. Okay, this is cool. See, this is why I'm glad this didn't get into CCLP5. I would not have made these kinds of changes. It's kind of like Ragged Mountain for CCLP4. If Ragged Mountain got into CCLP4, I obviously that one slide delay thing would have been retained, and it would have pissed off a lot of people. But because it didn't, I was able to fix that. Removing certain locks might be wise before pushing blocks around. So that basically says get rid of that green door before you do anything. I also removed the single chip. Just, you know, to have make it 0 chips, because it kind of felt weird having just one. And that is Iridescent. Amazing level. I'm very happy with the changes. I honestly forgot about that pop-up wall part that I changed up. I think it's even better now. So this, honestly, I can see this being in CCLP6 like right off the bat. Just based off how well it did for CCLP5 voting. But I'm glad I didn't let it get in. So apologies to those that liked it, and you know, I appreciate everyone's, you know, enthusiasm at their high rated votes. I think the lowest vote this got was like a 3. It was basically above average for everybody, so that means a lot to me. But I made it even better. So give this at least a 4 in CCLP6 voting. Alright, the Bug Follows 2. I don't think we played the first one, but if it's anything like the first one, this won't be any better. So what are we doing? Okay, we are guiding bugs down this column right here. Alright, so this is just the same thing like 20 times or something. And I shouldn't have even died right there. That's stupid. Alright. So this was a Joshua 1 level and was only made upon my fascination of, oh hey, you can guide bugs with blocks. And apparently that was so good it got a dedicated level in CCLP3.
Bummer.
Okay, I was not expecting a second death in this level. But that is okay. You're way too far. And actually, I don't think it was my fascination of upon discovering you can guide bugs with blocks. I think I intended on you making like a path of blocks for a bug to follow. Hence the title. But that method is obviously too tedious, and I am more of an expert player than I was in the past, so we are just going to at least do the thing once. And you can even use some blocks too. Although you do need at least 2 for the exit. Or 2 bugs, I guess. Okay. Actually, I probably do want to push a couple of blocks down that way because they do need to turn. Okay, so now we just need 2 bugs and then 2 blocks for the end. And we will be good. Alright. That would have been stupid if I just pushed a block in front of that socket. So how many bugs did we have left over? Did we even have any? And we had 1 right there. I think it's just the 1. Ah, what the hell. Make him useful. Alright, Bug Follows 2 is done. Nothing special whatsoever. Very mediocre, very bland, repetitive. The good old-fashioned Joshie way. At least of back then. Alright, and we are on level 160, Fumigation Hallucination. So the funny thing is this was recently played by Bowman in his Walls of CC1 Let's Play. And the immediate difference is, in that set, this level was untimed. Here, it's timed. And this was just a personal preference change for, just because I have no objections to this being untimed or nothing. Okay. So this level's existence hinges on one key factor. No pun intended with collecting yellow keys in this. So JB made a level out of totally fair, or totally, I think this is unfair, yeah. So this uses the walls of totally unfair. And JB made a level that uses the walls of totally fair. There are very little differences between the two templates. I think it's just the upper left room is basically closed off and totally unfair. And totally fair it wasn't. But he made a level called Color Out of Space. And it's this fairly difficult, you know, kind of like a mesthetic level. It focuses on a pattern and it sticks with the pattern in the whole level as best as it can. And the thing I noticed about that level when he shared it was it had no yellow keys or really anything yellow in it. And I had totally unfair to make something with still. And I had no idea what I was going to use with it prior to this. Oh. That's literally what my death message says is oh. That is unfortunate, but I kind of expected I would die because this is kind of an eyesore and that was intended. So I had no idea what I was going to do with this template if not this. But that was the big thing I noticed was it had no yellow doors or anything yellow whatsoever. So I thought, what if I made a sort of contrast to what JB did and just made my totally unfair walls level just focus on yellow. And CC1 specifically, CC2 has a little bit more flexibility, and actually I'm working on a CC2 level that is focused on yellow tiles. But in CC1, the context of CC1, this is basically all the yellow you get. You get yellow keys and yellow locks, you get bugs, you get hints, and you can argue fire and fire boots. And that's all you get. So the question then became, how the hell am I going to make a full map level with just these like 5 or 6 tiles to use? Like, what can I possibly do? Oh, there's a teleport too. So it's not all yellow. There is a couple of teleports and some like a pop-up ball or two. And I thought, what if I made a maze? So I started with bugs on the traps first. And I thought, okay, well, in the tile world tile set, you're going to see the traps, so it's going to be more brown than yellow. So then it dawned on me that, hey, there's that whole monster order being removed off the monster list quirk with links, and it basically works like it does in MS. So all these bugs that are encased in these hint tiles are not on the monster list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That key is a gotcha, and Bowman fell for it. So I remembered that hints are acting walls and links, so I thought, oh, I can just forget all these traps and just have hints as like the outside, as the aesthetic. Because, you know, hints aren't really used for aesthetics that often. And then it kind of just became a natural like key collection, you know, key accumulation puzzle. And in this room, which was the room you couldn't even access in Totally Unfair, kind of changed gears of, instead of collecting keys, you need to get rid of them. And honestly, for how minimal this level is with its tile selection, I am pretty darn happy with how it turned out. I would not have made this level if JB did not make color out of space the way he did. There's gotta be another yellow door here somewhere, right? I don't think I collected a yellow key. Did I collect the yellow key? Maybe I did. I can't get rid of that one because that's what you need to partial post off of to exit. Did I collect the yellow key? I had to have. No, there's only one way to find out for sure. There's none back here. Yeah, I collected a yellow key. Huh. Go figure. But you're supposed to partial post off that yellow door. This one that was where it was. You're supposed to partial post off it, so you need to get rid of the yellow keys you're forced to collect. And then there's this one key right here that you can bypass by stepping on the fire. And that's the gimmick, or that's the, you know, I gotcha. You know, you collected a key you didn't need to collect because you assumed you had to collect it because you collected all, you know, like 8 of them prior to it. Where did I collect the yellow key at, though? It was like right here, wasn't it? Somewhere right here. Okay, well, I'm going to skip until I get back there. And I will see you back there. That's the one I collected. Didn't need to even touch it. But I was rambling and wasn't thinking. Okay, got one more to get rid of, and it's right there. What? Huh? Which one did I miss? Oh, good lord. Yeah, I like this part where you start with 1 yellow key, then you build up to 2, and then you build up to 3, and then you get your reward with fire boots. Probably should have made the fire boots a little more obvious, but oh well. But then you have this fun little venture of, hey, you get to explore what you just went through with fire boots and collect pretty much anything you missed. Also, the more I'm playing it, the more I am kind of realizing, yeah, this is a little bit of an eyesore to play. Which I should mention was the intent. I am fully aware that is what I was supposed to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Third time's the charm. I can't believe I failed this twice. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And we gotta get rid of one more door. And I don't remember where it's at. Right here. Okay, 9. Okay, that is for sure it. Remember SJUM. And that is Fumigation Hallucination, the timed version. I think I'll leave this untimed for CCLP consideration. I'm not sure how well this is really going to do. But just know, in the future, when CCLP 6 voting is upon us, and this is probably going to be in it, just remember, this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Color Out of Space. I honestly don't know what I would have done without that level. I probably would have... I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, that universe is so far out there. I don't know what I would have done with it. But it would be interesting to see what others would have done with the wall template of Totally Unfair. I probably would have stuck with something small, honestly, because there were so many huge templates in that set, and I would have just stuck with something small. But I had to take advantage of the I saw an opportunity and I took it, and I'm glad I took it. So I do think the second half is way more interesting than the first half, but that's besides the point. Okay, so let's update the death count. I think I owe like 4 or 3, or I think 3 or 4 of them. We'll just say 3 for the sake of it. And that was a Walls of CC1 level, so we bump that up to 9. And I think that will be it for today, everybody. Just let me update my ticker to 294. So I'm not sure if there will be a video between now and the new year. I will try to record one. I don't see why I can't, but I will try to at least do one more video between now and New Year's. But I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. I hope you all enjoyed watching. And it's not that interesting, I guess, but hopefully you enjoyed, what you heard, or, it helped you out in some way. So have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Enjoy the day, enjoy the time, and we will see you next time for Speed Demon, which is going to be an interesting little story, because this is a Joshie.dat 2 level, and that set's got some good history to it, so take care, everybody. Thank you all once again, and see you next time.